So we're going to go right into the city manager's agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Up first is Chris Wheaton, our city engineer, regarding the Bergen County Open Space Municipal Park Improvement Program, fiscal year '25, the grant for Stive Park's Serenity Garden.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So tonight we're conducting a public hearing because the city is pursuing a grant from Bergen County Open Space for a Stive Park Serenity Garden. There has been a concept developed by our consultant Neglia, and so that's shown on the screen. There are also a few handouts over on the table if anybody wants a copy for themselves. The purpose of the hearing tonight is just to elicit any public comments that people may have on this concept. And it's a very nice concept. It's going to be placed in the parking area, the expanded parking area of Stive Park next to Coles Brook. We will be reclaiming that area, removing pavement, and installing a variety of features, including wildflowers. Let's go to the next slide, please, Frank. Oh. There it is. Okay. So the garden will include wildflowers, a grassy meadow area, pathway of either pavers or stone dust. It will include kiosks for informational purposes. There will be a pollinator house and different information stations to educate along the way. There will be benches, lighting, security cameras, and trash receptacles. And next slide, please, Frank. So again, the purpose for the discussion tonight is to hear public input or questions or comments. If there are any comments this evening, they will be heard but not answered tonight. We will be collecting those comments for consideration and passing them along to Bergen County Open Space for their consideration in the grant award. And the concept that's been developed will be further detailed and moved into a detailed design with the aid of the Hackensack Environmental Commission and Green Team. So at this point, I guess I will open it up if there are any comments from the public, if anybody would like to speak.
Actually, the mayor needs to do a motion
Yes.
to open it to public comment.
Open up to the public to comment on the park.
Offer.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak to this concept of the park, to give your opinion, please come forward. Ms. Somerville?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So, no issue with the concept on the park. Beautiful. I think it's an awesome opportunity for
Right.
not just the city, but for everyone in that live around Stive Park and for us. Question was raised by someone in reference to the dog park, right?
Right.
I guess there was a proposal a while back for a dog park, and they were asking if that was included in the plans for the Serenity Garden.
So we did address, there was a big outpour of people asking for a dog park there years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We actually did a large engineering and spent quite a considerable amount of money to do it. When we went to move forward with that dog park, unfortunately, we had an even larger group of residents come out to a council meeting against it. So at that point, we tabled it and put it on the side. I would consider a dog park again, but I'd have to have both sides in a room. So we don't go through what we went through last time, because it was almost feel like everybody wanted it, and then we got ambushed at the end. So it was like, it really surprised us. So that area calls for a dog park, because we were just there recently and watched dogs just pooping on the grass where the kids play. I mean, it really needs a dog park down there.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, people walk their dogs, right?
Right, so,
I walk retractable leash to make sure
Yep.
that you have them.
Yep.
I've seen people let their dogs run loose, so
You-
that's the
you
idea.
get a lot of people let their dogs loose in the park, and you get children there too, so if they're fenced in, at least everybody's safe.
Exactly, in an enclosed area.
Exactly.
One is a safety concern, right?
Couldn't
Because
agree with you more.
you never know.
So
You-
that's something that, again, we'd have to do like some extensive research with the people in the area before we even addressed it again.
Okay, so.
But we're still considering other areas of the city for dog parks, because we need them. We're totally in favor of dog parks, I mean, they're
We were
great.
looking at Johnson and Fashini.
Johnson and Fashini
You
are
know,
the two we're
As
looking at.
possible
Yes.
alternatives.
Yep,
Okay, all right, thank you, everyone, appreciate it.
thank you. Next person. Seeing nobody from the public, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed. So, and this will go to the Environmental Commission, Chris?
Yes,
For them
that's
to
my
see?
Yes.
Have they seen it
That-
yet, do you know, the renderings?
I believe they have, yes. Yeah, redevelopment director Albert
Let me
Dibb
ask you
has.
something. Who is doing the design of the park? Niglia?
Neglia,
Neglia.
yes.
Okay. So now, what is the stage right now? We are ready to go out for bids, or what is the next step?
Still more
Well,
design.
we're applying for funding right now, so there- we
Funding?
don't, yes,
Trying to
there's,
get a grant.
Okay.
we're trying to get a grant, so if the grant comes through, then
How
we can
much money you
proceed.
think we need? Maybe
The,
what,
the estimate
700?
from Neglia is about 600,000.
Okay. That with the lights and everything?
Yes, yes, with
That's
fully
okay.
developed.
Soup to nuts, that's everything.
Yeah.
So Kathy got the money, so.
Well, we got the open space grant, hopefully, county open space grant we're gonna apply for, see if we
Yes.
can get some funding there.
But one of the more expensive things is just to remove the asphalt, right?
That is costly, yes. I don't recall the detailed cost
I
breakdown.
got a friend that can do that.
Excellent,
Hey,
excellent.
we
Excellent.
did it in Atlantic Street Park, right? It was a paved parking lot, so we could do it again in
Yep.
Stipe, I'm sure, and it'll be lovely, you know, bring green space, especially that close to the brook. I mean, I just think it makes a lot more sense.
No, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're up.
All right. Number 2 is a presentation by Mr. John Peters from the Main Street Business Alliance regarding the Meet Me on Main 2025 on-street marketing campaign.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So we just because we'd like to go out and keep everybody abreast of what's happening, we're about to launch just a little mini campaign on Main Street called Meet Me on Main. It involves just about four sideways banners, which I'll go over, and then this banner across Main Street. This is a vinyl banner. It's nothing that is permanent by any stretch. The poles are there for that use. These poles were put there, I guess, around 4 years ago for a banner, but a banner's never been installed. So we're arranging for that the top of the poles to get the hardware that's needed. The banner is a two-sided banner, and it is, like I said, vinyl, but it's not flimsy. It's meant. This is exactly what it's meant for. We're going to be working with HPD traffic to make sure that it goes to the correct height, which is to allow either for a tractor trailer or the fire trucks on the highest side. And you'll notice it's not very wide, because if you make it very deep, they turn into sails and start buckling and things to that effect. So that's that. On the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the flowers. The mulch is pulled down. Everything that was dead from this winter has been pulled, and these flowers, while they were supposed to go in this week, everybody knows we had some snow and some frost, so we wanted to make sure that we didn't lose all those flowers. So those are getting put out the last week in April, the first week in May. Next slide. These are the four mini banners that we were talking about. These poles were also installed about 4 years ago, and without any banners, and now we're finally being able to put that in. Right now, the initial campaign is Meet Me on Main. Later, those may change to Music on Main or anything like that. There's not very big, so you can't put a whole lot of words on those things.
And those are the 4 white ones, yeah,
Those are
you
the
showed,
yes.
you got a close-up.
Yes,
okay.
there's 4 down there, down by Demrest.
Nice.
Next slide.
Nice touch.
And this is just what the banners look like up close. And like I said, they'll change if there's any type of campaign. So when Hackensack Oktoberfest rolls around, that's what'll be up on the banner.
Right.
But right now, we're just doing the 4. We're
That's
not
right.
we're not doing the one across the street, because we're doing the veteran banners, and we wanted to make sure we don't make it too crowded.
I thought that tonight was to come and present the one across the street as well.
We could present them all, but
Yeah.
I think, just, we've talked about this, that
Okay.
we know that this is what they're requesting, but, I think what we're suggesting is let's take it slow and let's see, because we want the veteran banners up too. Let's do the 4 and let's do the veteran banners, and then if everything looks kosher and good, and maybe we could consider adding the other. I mean, that's my opinion. I think we have to take it slow. The rest of the council, of course, should weigh in on that too.
So, John, let me ask you, the banner that goes across the street, does it have cutouts for air?
It's meant to do that. So there's
All right.
portions of it that are perforated, and it's done that. And again, it's fairly tiny, fairly innocuous.
Yep.
And honestly, Deputy Mayor, we were hoping to just come tonight and see if we could.
We're still worried about trucks, the size and the
I
height.
know, but like I said, so nothing will happen. It's being put up by Gates Flags, so they're completely familiar. Matter of fact, they came and said that these are the dimensions. Please check it with HPD. And
Because we do have some trucks that shouldn't be on Main, but they
Yeah,
sometimes
so,
show up during the night on Main, and
we've certainly taken that into account too. So that the largest ones that we've seen are the big tractor trailers, which have no business on Main, but
you
ironically
see them every once in a while.
take a wrong turn somewhere, so they're there. So this won't impact anything like that. And it's put up with decent enough to hold it up, but it's also, if anything hits it, it's not gonna cause any phenomenal damage. But again, it's gonna be up high enough to where there shouldn't be any issues, unless someone drives a crane down the street.
Which happens. That was my next
I meant
statement, because when
open.
we do construction,
be
we see
higher
the
than
cranes.
17
We do
feet.
see the cranes, yeah. I mean, everybody, we could do the 4, we could do all 5, or,
I mean, those poles were meant for that type of banner. Why would we not? I know.
go back and look at the picture. I mean,
Hey, can
my
you go
opinion
back,
is I
Frank,
think
to
we have to
the,
go simple. We don't even have the veterans up yet, so we don't want to make it look too
But
crowded.
I don't understand, to me, this is just me, Kath, I don't understand what it has to do with the veteran banners. It's totally,
Because you're going to look down that street and you're going to see a lot of banners.
But it's only momentarily, right?
No.
So then the banner is being removed, what?
The banners are going to be there from what, I forgot, Ally, was it Memorial
weeks,
Day
right?
to Veterans Day?
Veterans Day.
And these would be up all the time. I mean, if you guys are fine with having them all, I'll go with the rest of the council. I'm just giving my opinion.
I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I think it adds a nice touch to the street. It's not
It's a nice
crazy.
welcome. It's two-sided, so, and it's only down on one side of the street. We had wished it was up the other end of Main
And there's
Street
only
too. but
one,
it's
the
not.
whole length of it. It's one,
That's
in
by
a
the
1 mile
courthouse,
stretch is
that
only,
one.
that's the
No,
only
this
banner going
is-
across.
It's a little further up.
Okay,
This is down by,
the park, no?
down by Bridge Street.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I guess
And the
that's,
others are at the 4 other ones are at
But they
Demer's
can be
Place.
Bergen.
changed. They can be changed when you want to announce something like for July 4th or
Well,
whatever.
he just said, yeah, you can, like, Oktoberfest could go up there, or July 4th.
And it
You
can
can
also,
advertise it.
it
Can
will
be
also go on these
interchanged.
4 small ones.
And there's this 4 small flagpoles, like those
Those,
there.
yes, that's right at Demer's Place.
That's up
They were
there.
put there
Right.
purposely for that.
I know I'm representing the board tonight, and I know they feel really strongly about having a welcome to Main Street, especially now where we're really trying to promote all the cultural activities happening and all the new restaurants that are opening. Feel like it's finally time. In fairness, before Lord, Deputy Mayor knows I've been asking for banners for a while. Looking back at this now is clearly the proper time. Everybody strongly believes in it.
Okay.
I say give it a shot, see how it works. Give
Yeah.
it a shot. It's.
I'll go along with the
certainly
crowd.
not- You know, as long as the truck's not gonna hit it and cause damage to the poles, I'm okay with it.
I-
It should
I-
have
I
like a
can-
breakaway type of system on it, so if it were to get
They
caught up
should
by
be,
a
they
truck.
should be higher than 18 feet, right? 17, 18
It was
feet.
17 something, and we said that so it's the tractor trailers and the fire trucks are the biggest concern.
Okay. If they don't work, we get them out, that's all.
It's not permanent.
Okay. Next. Well,
That's all for
Thank you,
me.
John.
That's it?
Thanks, John.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you, John.
That's it.
Up next, another presentation. This one is by our CFO, Mr. Mangan, regarding a bond ordinance for introduction.
Excuse me,
What happened with your candies? The candies.
I just had one.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, later on at the business portion of the meeting, you'll see that there are 3 bond ordinances that are on for introduction. So I'm here tonight to, 2 things. First, describe the bond ordinances, and I also want to describe why we have 3. That's not typically what we do. We typically do a multi-purpose ordinance, and it's rare that we would have 3 all at once, but there's a reason for that. So first, what I want to do is describe the 3 bond ordinances. Okay. First up, you have ordinance number 20-2025. This is the Anderson Street Streetscape project. City engineer has reported on this a few times. We've been batting this around. This is a streetscape similar to Main Street that'll run Anderson from Union up to Linden Street. Okay, and this project is $1,500,000. Okay, but we received a Department of Transportation Alternatives program grant of $1,305,000. That's a TAP grant, okay, which is the main part of what that of taking care of this ordinance. So that means that in this particular case, this ordinance, the net debt for the city is $195,000. But remember that the way our debt management policy works is we incur the debt, we pay the bill. When the grant comes in, it reimburses us. Okay, but we do have to incur the debt. Okay, that's the Anderson Street ordinance. Okay, next up is ordinance number 21-25. This is a multi-purpose ordinance, and this has park improvements, vehicle acquisitions, and improvements to our pump station and buildings. Okay, the total amount of this ordinance is $5,980,000. Okay, but as the city engineer just described with the Serenity Park open space grant, that's included in this ordinance, where we have a Green Acres application out for $1.2 million, and the Bergen County open space application for $303,000. Okay, we're eligible for both these grants, so that even though it's an application, we're pretty much guaranteed that we're going to get it. Okay, and as the deputy mayor said, we're also going to draw $500,000 for this out of the Hackensack Open Space Trust Fund. So of this $5.9 million ordinance, really the net debt to the city is $3.9 million. Okay? And let me just explain what's in this ordinance. First, you have the park improvements. Okay? Sty Park Serenity Garden, which you just saw, is in this ordinance. Also, the Fashini Park field lighting. We went out to bid back in December for Fashini Park. We haven't awarded yet, specifically because the alternates were the lighting for fields 8, 9, and 10. And what we want to do is secure the funding so that when we award the contract, we'll be awarding the base and also the lighting for all 3 fields. That's in this ordinance. We're also buying another fire engine. Okay, if you remember, we purchased a fire engine last year, and we'll be purchasing another one this year. The lead time on getting a build on a fire engine is over a year. And that's why we have to kind of move on this. Okay, we're also purchasing police vehicles in this bond ordinance, and we have the replacement of the Kennedy Street pumps. Okay, the city engineer has reported on this as well. The Kennedy Street pump station has 3 pumps. Of the 3 pumps, 1 is down completely, and 1 is kind of on its last legs. That leaves just 1 pump. That's a dangerous situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace 2 of the 3 pumps in the Kennedy Street pump station. In addition, we're going to install a pump station remote monitoring system. We've been doing a lot of work on pump stations the last few years, not just Kennedy. Kennedy, we did the generator last year. We did the motor at the Broses Creek pump station. We've done work at Mercer. We've done work at Anderson Street. So what this remote system will do is it'll let us know if there's a pump failure or a power failure, anything like that, and it'll be able to tell us remotely. Okay. Sometimes in a real heavy storm, we actually have to have somebody physically at the pump station to make sure that it doesn't go off. Okay. Also included in this ordinance is the funding needed to finish off the fire headquarters remediation project. I don't know if you remember, but we had a presentation by Suburban Engineering a few months ago about what's still needed to finish that project off once and for all. Whoops. Sorry about that. And there we go. Okay. All right, so this is ordinance number 21-25. Final ordinance on for tonight is ordinance 22-25. And this is stormwater equipment we're buying for the Department of Public Works. This particular ordinance is $1,220,000. We're going to finance this through the iBank. And if you recall back in March, when I gave a finance status of the sewer projects, I had mentioned that late last year, the iBank came out with the iBank Stormwater Initiative and set the criteria for eligibility, and Hackensack is eligible. So what that means is that we're eligible for 100% principal forgiveness on this. So we'll be incurring debt of $1,220,000, and we'll be paying back zero. Okay? The equipment that's included in this ordinance includes, we're going to buy a second vac truck. We bought a vac truck, you remember, a few years ago. They're used to clean keep the catch basins clean. That alleviates flooding by keeping the stormwater system running. We're going to buy 2 pickup trucks that DPW is going to use specifically for stormwater use, which makes them eligible for this program. And we're going to purchase 2 trailer-mounted portable pumps. Now, when we do the construction on the Kennedy Street station, we'll be taking 2 pumps out of service, leaving 1. That's dangerous because you only have 1 pump station. So what we're going to do is we're going to have these 2 trailer-mounted pumps as a backup for Kennedy during the construction of the pump replacement. And when that project is done, we'll have these 2 trailer-mounted pumps that we'll be able to use around the city to pump out different areas. And again, this is all 100% principal forgiveness. Okay, so real quick, just to recap, ordinance number 20-25 is the Anderson Street Streetscape, which includes a TAP grant of $1,305,000. Ordinance 21-25 has park improvements, and in the park improvements, we're anticipating a $1.2 million Green Acres grant and a $303,000 Bergen County Open Space grant. Also in the ordinance is the purchase of a fire engine, police vehicles, the Kennedy Street pump station repairs, and the remediation of the fire headquarters on State Street. Finally, ordinance number 20-25 is the stormwater equipment for DPW with 100% principal forgiveness. And if I could, just on the subject of principal forgiveness, now I know that last month at the March 25th meeting, I gave a financial overview of the sewer program, and I just wanted to repeat it because it's important to understand that back in 2021, we adopted our debt management policy. And it's our policy, it's our intention to incur as much debt as we need to, because, as we were saying in 2021, the debt isn't the problem. The problem is raising taxes to pay the debt back. So what we've been doing is we've been financing projects only where we're able to repay the debt without increasing our debt service budget, without increasing taxes. The way we do that is through securing grants and principal forgiveness in the iBank. At the March 25th meeting, you'll recall, I said that so far, since 2018, the city's appropriated $96 million in sewer repairs to alleviate flooding. Now, of that $96 million, we've already received $42.6 million in grants and principal forgiveness. Well, we've already received it. And that we're anticipating another $25.1 million in future grants and principal forgiveness. So of that $96 million appropriation, we're actually going to get funding of $67.8 million for it. So borrow $96 million, we're going to be paying back about $28 million. That's by design. That's how our debt policy works. You recall I had said back in 2021, the prior administration had a debt policy where once you got to a certain level, then they wouldn't incur any more debt. The problem with that is that once you get to that level, without debt, you can't do improvements. You can't pave streets, you can't fix sewers, you can't buy garbage trucks, you can't do any of that stuff. So we had said that we threw that policy out, and instead we were going to concentrate on incurring debt, but not raising taxes to pay the debt back, because we wanted to do the improvements, but we don't want to raise taxes in order to do them. And so far, it's worked out very, very well. Okay? So like I said, these three ordinances are on tonight for introduction. Be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Steph, question?
No question. Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Basically, just again to recap it so everyone does understand, is so all of these monies are currently in our debt statement.
Yes.
And we will, and the way it works is with any of the principal forgiveness, with any of the grants, the city's not allowed to receive that money until the work is done. So for us to do that, we incur the debt, we do the job, we get the money, and we pay the debt. So truly, as Jim's saying, sewer work alone, $96 million is only gonna cost us less than $30 million, so it'll be $28 million. And I think the key point here, which Jim has presented other times, is debt management is critical when you're running a city. Just like, when you're doing things in your own home, every few years I have to purchase a new car, or I have to lease a new car, or, we have to do that at a tremendous magnitude, because we have police cars, we have fire cars, we have DPW equipment. So managing it the way Jim's managing it is saying we keep a level so that there's never spikes. Okay, because that's what kills our taxpayers. If all of a sudden we have to, we have to buy 3 garbage trucks at $350,000 a pop, right? That hits all at once, and taxes have to go up. So instead, like we bought a fire truck last year, yes? And we're buying another fire truck this year, because we know what's coming. The history of these, based on the fire regulations and the safety of our firemen, says you can only have these trucks in use for so many years. So we plan ahead, and we bought one last year, so we bought one this year, instead of saying, now we have to pay. And these trucks are this one's over $1 million.
$1.2 million.
$1.2 million. So these aren't little, easy, inexpensive purchases. So I think, congratulations, Jim, you've always done a great job in doing this.
Just to illustrate the deputy mayor's point, when I did the annual debt statement, which was as of 12/31/24, our net debt, the city's net debt was $141 million. But you recall at the March 25th meeting, I had announced that we had just received a $4.5 million grant, just received it cash in the bank. What that means is right off the bat, we reduced our debt by $4.5 million. And that was for a project funded through the iBank that's been completed. Now, there's other projects funded through the iBank that have been completed. Clay Street, the first 3 contracts are just about done. It's only the West of Rail that's left. So what we'll be doing is we'll be permanently financing that in the fall. When we permanently finance that, that's when the principal forgiveness will kick in. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jim.
You'll be here for the council meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Nick?
Thanks, Jim. All right, up next is a presentation that I'm going to be handling regarding redevelopment and a redevelopment report and update for April 2025.
There was
This was Alfred's presentation.
You still home?
He's lost his hearing. It's coming back a little bit. That must be a heavy-duty presentation, it's taking so long to load.
No, it's just my luck, just my luck. It's completely gone. There you go. All right, you can go to the next slide. Okay. All right, we're going to start with redevelopment in the local economy. Of the 4,500 new residents, there's a potential for as much as $70 million annually to the local economy. New residents patronize local businesses, which we have new businesses opening all the time. Next slide. Redevelopment and affordable housing, which is always a common subject regarding the redevelopment. And per city ordinance, developers must either build affordable housing into their projects or contribute to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. The current balance in our Housing Trust Fund for redevelopment projects is approximately $6,331,000 and change. Of the affordable housing projects that we have either that have site plan approval, Lot T will be 60 units, 251 Railroad Place will be 24 units, which is 100% funded, which is a 100% affordable housing facility. 111 Essex Street, 68 units, and that's the same 100% of affordable housing. 1 Essex Street, which is going to be 25 units with a Hackensack residence preference. And then 60 Kansas Street, which is 30 units, and that will be senior housing, which is also a Hackensack preference, Hackensack resident preference. Total of 207 units. This doesn't include the inclusion overlay zones on Maine, Johnson, Essex, and Hudson, which have projects that are already approved or will be approved. The Hackensack Housing Authority also administers 500 units, which are all Hackensack residency approved preference. Next, redevelopment and public services. Was something that's is important to know is that regarding sanitation, as you know, we do our own garbage and recycling. All redevelopment projects have to have private garbage collection and recycle hauling, which is at no expense to the city or our taxpayers. Hackensack PD, regarding their services to the city, there was nearly 2,500 units citywide. There was only 1,879 total arrests in a 3-year period. And the arrests in the redevelopment projects accounted for about 1.3% of arrests in that same time frame. Similarly with Hackensack Fire, they average approximately 6,400 annual runs or calls for service in 2022 to 2024, and an average of 207 were in the redevelopment projects. So that's about 3.2%. Redevelopment and traffic. All redevelopers are required to provide detailed traffic reports before their plans or site plan applications and before they're approved. And it's important to note that residential projects typically generate less trips than many of the prior retail uses similar to Sears or an industrial area like the former record site. So, notes on pilots. What is a pilot? A pilot is a payment in lieu of property tax that is typically based on project revenue between 10 to 15%. This takes place for a fixed term between 10 to 30 years when the project is phased into paying regular property taxes. Why does Hackensack use pilot programs or pilots? 1, to promote development, which in turn fuels the local economy. 2, to obtain increased revenue for important projects like parks and infrastructure. And number 3, to guard against blight, falling land values, and economic deterioration. Where does the pilot revenue go? The answer is directly into the budget. As you'll see on this plan, I know it's hard to read because it's so far away, but it shows all the redevelopment projects, the locations, and what they have paid in pilot fees in 2023 and 2024, with those numbers here, and you're going to see in a future slide, I'm going to show you how much of a big change that is in things. So what's commonly, if you look up somebody's tax records for a redevelopment project, we're constantly getting, well, they pay zero taxes. They don't pay zero taxes. They're paying the payment in lieu of taxes, which is the number that's here. It's just not shown. Factors that are considered by the city regarding pilots: the city's decision to use tax abatements must be based on a case-by-case analysis of the benefits of the proposed project. This includes the type and magnitude of the development, the impact of local tax rate on the profitability of the project, the ability of the developer to secure the financing, and the fiscal impact on or cost added to the community. Pilot revenue, which we started our first pilot in 2020, and this, if you go up to 2025, which is this current year, is currently at $11,201 in pilot revenue. Future projections to future projects that are coming up, if you go out to 2029, could potentially be $18 million, over $18 million. This is the slide that I was wanted to talk to you about. If you look, 250 Main Street prior to this had zero tax revenue. 22 Sussex, zero tax revenue. 2 Kindercamack. If you look at 2 Kindercamack, that's the Jefferson now, that was county property. They were paying no taxes. The Jefferson now is paying approximately $2.3 million in taxes. The Midtown Bridge, which was the former Lot C, the redevelopment project there, they were paying zero taxes because it was a city-owned property. They are now paying $701,000 in taxes. So some of these projects were paying zero taxes and now are paying pilots, payments in lieu of taxes, whereas even the other property locations that were paying taxes, the redevelopment made huge increases into the revenue that was brought into the city by performing the redevelopment. To recap, in summary, redevelopment contributes to $70 million in city spending annually, and that number is constantly increasing. Redevelopment contributes to affordable housing with 200 affordable housing units, with more units to come. Redevelopment also alleviates flooding by reducing stormwater runoff with new plans and new laws that go into effect on how stormwater has to be dealt with. We are planting more trees, contributing to stormwater and sewer projects via sewer connection fees. Redevelopment projects currently generate approximately $10 million. Right now, it's actually $11 million in pilot revenue with even much higher projections. And lastly, redevelopment is not a significant contributor to school-age children, with kids in redevelopment projects accounting for less than 2% of the school enrollment. DPW waste collection with sanitary collection of 0% trash and recycling, as I said previously, they have to handle that on their own. The police arrests were approximately 1.3% in the last 3-year period, and the fire department run calls are approximately 3.2% as a result of all the redevelopment in the city thus far. That's all I have. Any questions, Mayor, Council?
No, very good.
Oh, thanks, Manny.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions from the public?
We'll wait till then.
Any public questions?
From the public?
We'll open to the public.
Well, yeah, we'll open it up. Next up is another presentation. I'm going to call up our city engineer, Chris Wheaton, for the combined sewer and construction projects update.
Manny, what about the airport?
That's last.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I usually go before her, that's first one.
I don't forget.
How could you?
Good evening again. All right, let's talk about construction. This is our overview. This is essentially the same as last time, but the current projects going on are Anderson Street is winding down. Johnson Park Sports Complex is getting started. Lot A is getting started. Fashini Park is in the queue for this summer. And we've talked about East Kennedy Pump Station is on its way. As soon as we get funding, we will get going with the equipment procurement and the design for the rehab. and West of Rail is on its way as well, along with our very large FEMA hazard mitigation grant for the Green Street area. With our CSO separation projects, again, this is an overview of what's been done and what's on the way. As I mentioned, West of Rail is the coming project, and we've wrapped up everything on that list down to the pink Anderson drainage area. The West of Rail project is shown in blue, light blue here. There's two phases, contract 1 and contract 2. These projects are presently in review with New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Apologies, I spent more than a decade working on New York City water projects. So New Jersey DEP is reviewing the plans and drawings for West of Rail contracts 1 and 2. Both these contracts will include green infrastructure, so there will be tree planters, tree filters installed at appropriate locations throughout the project area. And we anticipate contract 1 for West of Rail will be bidding the end of this summer. On the Anderson Street drainage area, or it's not Anderson Street, it's Anderson drainage area. That's a common misconception. We're diverting water from the Anderson drainage area, so the stormwater that formerly flowed to Anderson combined sewer overflow facility on the corner of Anderson and River Street is now being collected and going through our new Clay Street interceptor. And so taking the load off of the Anderson area, off of the Anderson CSO, and putting it into our new pipes in the Clay Street and going down to the Court Street combined sewer overflow facility. So that's again just an overview of how this project got its name, even though it's going to Court Street. The sewer separation is just wrapping up. All the pipes are installed, the catch basins are complete, the curbs and sidewalks are complete. The paving was completed last Friday, and so we're just in the stages of final restoration for this Anderson drainage area project. And in the queue is our design, our detailed design. We've done preliminary design. We've done investigations of the sewers and cleaning of the sewers in the project area for this FEMA grant-funded project called the Green Street Flood Mitigation Project. And the primary project area is shown on the right and encompasses, as we've discussed at prior meetings, a large pump station along the river off of River Street, a large interceptor pipe coming up Kansas Street to the primary drainage area between Green Street and South State Street, west to east, and from Essex Street almost to Loening Street to the south. And as a possible expansion into this area, we have discussed with FEMA, and FEMA is reviewing the benefit cost analysis that we have done for the South Newman area shown on the left-hand side of the map. And if that meets with approval with FEMA, that would be considered as a future grant opportunity that would also go to the pump station area, the new pump station. In parks, as mentioned, we are just getting started with Johnson Park Sports Complex. The site and utility contract, we held a pre-construction kickoff meeting last week. We will be meeting on site tomorrow to do a site walk. And the city is also hosting a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m. With Fashini Park, this will be a improvement, a complete replacement of fields 8, 9, and 10. And these will be new turf fields and with underfield drainage. So we hope that we will accomplish, more playability, greater play time and recovery from rain events at Fashini Park. And depending, I suppose, on how much funding we get from Green Acres and other sources, the project will include these other elements, batting and pitching tunnels and bleachers, and certainly the sports lighting will be accommodated.
And these fields are gonna have light, right?
Yes, the sports
Okay,
lighting,
good.
yes. In roads and traffic, or parking lots, we just had a kickoff, or pre-construction kickoff this morning for Lot A improvements, basically paving the city parking lot and providing curbs and sidewalk improvements. And this project will be getting started the first week in May. Also in roads and traffic, we are just about to start with the installation of speed humps on Kaplan Ave, and that work is scheduled to start tomorrow. And just a friendly reminder, keep our sewer system clean and healthy by not flushing wipes or disposing of materials down the sewer that are not biodegradable and don't belong in the sewer. And with that, if there's any questions?
Any questions?
Not really.
No. Nice presentation. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Like that, but-
Alrighty. Last is discussion. I'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor Canestrino regarding Teterboro Airport and the TANIC update.
Thanks, Vinnie. Yes, so we had our quarterly meeting at Teterboro Airport last week, and again, I'm the representative for the city. And part of that was, I've had mentioned in the past, I've finally been allowed to have my own focus group where we now meet monthly, and we focus specifically on trying to use the alternate flight path that will fly over Route 17 instead of the current flight path that flies over Prospect Avenue and Hackensack University Medical Center and many of our private residential areas. I have to say, I presented the focus group part at the meeting because I'm the one that's running the focus group, and the focus group has gone very well. We've had pilots that are now attending, so we're having real good feedback from people that are actually flying this and what's being successful and what the real issues are. And you can't fix something that you really don't understand, or if you don't understand what the real problem is. And we've been given an assortment of what the real problems are from the FAA, et cetera, and it really is talking to the real people that fly it. I think that's going to make the difference for us. And a lot of the feedback came back that it's not a difficult flight path to fly at all. There's a couple of minor things they think that would make it even better. For example, there are, when you're designing or implementing your flight path, there's something that's called waypoints, all right? So the more, and that's basically what's guiding your GPS navigation. So the more waypoints you have, the more granularity that's in your flight path. So they had already added more additional flight paths to the regular flight path that flies over Prospect, but they didn't choose this new alternate path. So their suggestion was do the same, add it there. The only issue, not the pilots that were in attendance there, but some of the feedback from some of the pilots is it's not as straight in. So in other words, if you're taking the one over the medical center, you're flying straight in and landing at Teterboro Airport. Because we're offset a little bit, we're coming in just ever so slightly from Route 17, there is a turn that you're making before you're lining up to land your plane. And any pilot is still going to have GPS navigation and should be able to make that turn as they do at many other airports. It's a 13-degree turn, and the pilot suggested that, excuse me, that there's a way we could reduce that to 6 degrees, make it even less significant. So those couple of things were fed back to the FAA, and we're waiting to hear how that's going to happen. Next slide, excuse me. They were always hesitant to let us have an opportunity to fly it in the day, and we finally got it, even though it was only one day. So on January 16th, from 7 in the morning till it ended right at 2 o'clock, the advertised flight path was not the one over Prospect, it was the one over Route 17. And as you can see, there was only very few people that asked or suggested that they use the old flight path. When we looked into that, you see the majority of them had no problem. They flew this, they call it the offset approach. They flew this, there was 68 of them that flew it. You see it at 14 o'clock or 2, there's more that didn't fly it because that's when they ended it at 2 o'clock. The few that didn't fly it, primarily, if the aircraft you're flying hasn't loaded the new flight path into its navigation system, then you don't have the opportunity to use it. So a message has to get out to all of the companies and all of the aircraft has this alternate flight path loaded. So the very few that didn't fly it, basically, the opinion was that that was the feedback. So the issue is, okay, we did it once, why aren't we doing it again? And there were many people that attended the meeting and vocalized that, and the FAA was in attendance, and I think that's the real issue, is the only way this is going to work for us, and we know it's not going to be a 100% solution, but the only way our public and people in Hackensack are going to get some relief is if this flight path is what they call the advertised flight path for the day. And as you can see, people used it. When the other flight path is the advertised flight path, we had a pilot there that said, I asked for it many times, and I was only given, once was I given the ability to ask and be able to fly the alternate flight path. And the reason that we're getting is for air traffic controllers, it's difficult for them to manage the both flight paths at the same time. So then to me, easy answer. Once in a while, let's set a schedule, whichever days they are, whatever time periods they are, let's have the alternate flight path be the one that's put in use. So again, that's what we're fighting for in the TANIC group. That's what I'm fighting for in our focus group. I think for the first time, I feel a little bit encouraged because I think we now have the proper audience and the proper people that are attending our meetings. So I think this is good news for us, but filing your complaints, your noise complaints, right? I always say that, right? It's a piece of data that has to be collected and has to be reported. And the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So you folks know, you hear it, you see the sounds, you're annoyed by it, press that button, make that phone call, and log your complaints, because that's an important piece of information. And just very briefly, quarterly, our noise number still went up. So we're seeing the noise monitor that's on the top of the medical center, and it's creeping up, but, of all of the other noise monitoring stations around the airport, Hackensack Medical is the highest of everyone. So we're the folks that are getting the really worst part of the deal, and I think if we all fight this together, folks, sign up, basically log in your complaints, and we'll all hopefully encourage, and this will become a reality. Thanks for the time, Vin.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, need a motion to open to the public, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed. Anyone from the public, please come forward. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, me again. So question, right? I don't know if the tax application is an in-house build or if it's something that you guys bought from a vendor. I know that the tax application now for the pilot program, right, registers as 0 because technically they are not paying tax. It's a payment in lieu of. Is there any way for us to put a line item on the tax registry that shows the payment per year, per month, per quarter, however it's collected for each of these different individual buildings so people do not have the impression that it is a 0 tax liability for the buildings? Because again, a lot of us are visual, right? And what you see is what you believe.
Right. I think part of the problem is, and my CFO could probably answer it for me, but I think is once the property is classified as, is it F, Jim, where it becomes a 14 or 15F, which means it's tax exempt, that's why it shows up as 0. But the CFO could probably answer that a little bit better than I would.
Yeah, that's why it shows up as 0, but unfortunately, we can't change the software. The reason for that is that back in 2015, we started allowing people to pay for their taxes with credit cards. Now, in order to do that, we had to enter into an agreement with a third party because we don't want to take credit cards because we don't want to be responsible for maintaining credit card data, and we really don't want that liability. So we use a third-party vendor, and we're bound by by their software. Okay, and it's a software program that's probably in use by about 2/3. Yeah, I would say about 2/3 of municipalities in New Jersey, and not many municipalities in New Jersey have pilots, so they won't make a change. Okay.
Change specifically
Yeah.
for us.
hmm
But there's no other way for us to be able to capture that information?
Not through that software, you know? What we could do is put something else on the website, you know, that does it, but we can't do it through that software.
Okay,
Okay.
but I mean, as a, a member of the community, I think that would be helpful, right?
Okay.
Because we don't see anything unless you call City Hall or we call the city manager to ask for that information. So it would be useful for
Okay.
all of these buildings to have per year and the amount that's being paid and captured, so just for a regular person going on, because we see misinformation, to be able to say, okay, no, yes, they don't have tax liability because they're tax exempt until the end of the pilot program, but they did pay in 2023 $1 million, in 2024 $2 million, right? So you're able to see that they are making a payment in lieu of the taxes.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we could even, we could talk to our IT people. You know, when you go onto the website and you search for, what were the taxes on a property, it runs that little tool. There's nothing that would prevent us from adding another window to that website application that would also check for, is this a pilot, and put it up in the window next to it. So we wouldn't have to change the software. It would show that here's the tax status, and then we would propagate, here's the pilot status, because we have it from your budget.
It's like writing it in.
All right, yeah, we can look into that.
Yeah.
I understand.
And it would show you both, right? Yeah.
I appreciate it. I mean, in corporate America, they call it dumbing it down to the third grade level, right? It's simple.
Right. Thank you,
Thanks,
Marlene.
Jim.
Good idea.
Good evening, everyone. Bridget.
Evening.
I just want to say thank you. It's finally over. Thank you. It's finally over.
Still about the sidewalks and the paving and the
A
digging
year and a
the
half. of-
Noise and.
Yes. And I wanted
No
to
pain, no
say,
gain.
I'm grateful to Ted, who started this, who cared about community, who heard our cries when it came to the flooding and our homes being damaged with foundation. And I'm grateful to you guys who actually continued his legacy of getting this done. But I'm also grateful to EPA for saying, okay, we need to separate these sewers here because this is crazy. But this is 50 years plus in the making. So I am grateful to the new sidewalks, the new street. The officer, I think his badge number was 137, who helped me put my groceries on the porch when all the construction was actually going on. And also to Ryan, a gem, because every time I called, he actually answered, and he answered all the questions that were needed. And when I said, look, it was like this before, I would like this again, please keep it this way, and he did follow through. Now it's just maintaining to get the grass to grow back. That's it, basically. But I'd say thank you. Okay?
you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
Thank you.
Hey, Bridget, you got problem with that tree in front of your house, right? You got a problem with that tree in front of your house?
man, that tree is, I mean,
I saw him, I've been walking, looking the whole thing, and I saw that at your house, you got a tree
the
that,
tree, okay, so when I actually did research into the property, that tree was planted when the community was developed.
Wow.
So, but along the journey, after, I think my house is 100 and something years old, along the journey, it became part of us. But the tree it's a dead tree, first of all.
it's dead, yeah.
Yes. And the roots, when they were tearing up the grass in front of the house, I couldn't believe it. I just really couldn't believe it. It was all the way to my driveway. So it covered underneath the sidewalk, onto the driveway, out to the other side, part of the sidewalk, which is the city part, that little grass patch part. It's.
But that tree, like, what, 8 feet from the curb?
Yes. And
Okay.
it's actually 25 feet from the middle of the street. So
From the middle of
25
the street, but from the curb, like about 8 feet. So I'm gonna see what I can do.
Because the tree, it's.
Because it's danger, because these branches can fall down on the top of
Well, it's
somebody.
done that through the years. The branches have fell onto other people's property, onto my property, you know, you look up in the wintertime praying to God that a branch don't hit the ground or hit my grandson as he's outside playing. So, yeah, it's
What is the number of the house?
197.
197, okay, we're gonna talk to the city manager
Okay.
to see what we can do.
Okay, thank you. I gotta go to another.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Evening.
Ed Cabral, Kaplan. Just want to say thank you. They, as Chris said earlier, they're going to be installing the speed beds tomorrow. Signs were up today. And hopefully we can get traffic to slow down on Kaplan. We still, I think, are waiting for the no left turn on Polyfly. Any idea of when that's happening?
It was, I just read an email, Councilman Wright, we just read an email from the county that
It came
it was
from the
their
county
second
the other day.
approval, and now they're,
their work order
they put their work order in, so
Okay.
hopefully soon.
So
Soon?
they're installing it, not us? They're
Yeah, it's county.
County road, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Excuse me, are they putting the sign for the speed bumps?
Yeah, they were putting the sign out there
There's
today.
a whole process.
Oh, yeah, I know.
No, they already installed them today.
Oh, they
They
did.
raised that-
Yeah,
that
where,
raised,
where all the speed bumps are at, 100 feet this way, 100 feet that way, and
Okay,
everything
good.
else, so it's, hopefully it'll stop the traffic. Getting to Catherine, when she was talking about the airways and whatnot, how could we do something with the helicopter that flies over our house and the whole house shakes and it's cracking the walls and the whole 9 yards? You would think, you're
is
in,
this the
it almost seems like you're watching a show of MASH as the helicopter's landing.
Is this the
At like 4
hospital?
o'clock in
Is
the
this
morning. Look, I know
hospital-
they're saving lives, but
The hospital emergency, is that the hospital emergency?
it's the hospital, it's the state troopers, they all come down, right down Kaplan over the
The state
highway.
trooper is actually quite a bit larger than the
Oh,
hospital.
yeah, well, you'll know when
It's
they come in.
52 feet.
The house shakes. You're like,
Yeah,
what the hell's going
that's
on?
a
This is at
beast.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, no, that will land in Teterboro.
They were
They'll land in
flying last
Teterboro,
night.
the state trooper, if they're landing, depending on where they're
And if it's a
taking
busy
off.
night, you could probably get 2 or 3, what was it,
night.
last week, maybe on a Friday, Saturday, it was like 3.
I'll add it to my list of things to
Yeah,
complain
let
about.
me know. I'll let the neighbors know.
But certainly, put your noise complaints in.
Absolutely.
Because, they know what it is, and they'll know it's a helicopter at that location,
Yeah.
so then it gets logged against the helicopter traffic. So
I just
that's
think they're coming
important.
too low to the houses, so everything trembles.
And they're very noisy.
They have a different
Yeah.
Flight pattern?
altitude level.
Abs-
for
absolutely. They
flying
fly
than
much
a-
lower.
Than a jet does.
Right.
But
But-
they're also very noisy.
All right.
so.
Yeah.
And again, thank you for the speed beds.
Thanks. Next person, please. Joseph, how are you?
Good evening. How are you? Mayor and council, thank you so much for allowing me to come and speak. Hope all is well. Mayor, I hope the Mets are winning right now as we speak. So, but
too good to be-
I'm here for
somebody
two
pinch me.
reasons. I need your help. Since September of last year, I've called the city manager's office. Jackie was working here at that point, I guess. The speeding on Poplar Avenue, because I'm on the school street, I'm on the corner of Poplar and Pine. My house is the corner one. It's ridiculous. We have now 6 little kids. Thank God, I love it. I have new kids in the neighborhood, my neighbors. So I'm actually here. They asked me to come and speak on their behalf because one of my neighbors has a daughter with, she has a disability, and the little bus comes to get her. And 2 weeks ago, as I'm walking my dog, the bus is there on the side, and a car swung around it and just kept going, and then went through the barricades to get to the school. That's what's bothering me. Officer Frank tries his best to circle and circle, but he's one guy. And he's basically closer to the Fairmont side. But I asked a couple of times, and you'll see it in the notes, that I spoke to the woman in Spanish as well, that she took notes from me. I called for Halloween because the cars were flying. If there was a way to put signage, because there's no sign on Poplar coming down that there's a school. On Pine there is. But also if they could, and then I asked even if we can get the speed sign that, to be honest with you, is doing nothing on Summit and Fairmont, because it's so far up Summit that at that point, who are you stopping? You're gonna stop anywhere at the top. But on any random day, the cars fly out, the teachers fly out of there, the parents fly out of there, and when the barricades are down, Fairmont Eats, that's their speedway to do deliveries. They literally come and fly up, and my fear is that the kids are gonna get hit. We also have an adult home on Poplar, and they walk in groups, and they have a leader in the front and the back. And my fear is these cars, they make the turns, they're gonna get hurt. Is there a way we can make markings? Can we get speed bumps near the school?
We're gonna have traffic look at it. We're just doing a pilot on Kaplan. The
But I just
gentleman
heard-
that just spoke, basically, this is a pilot program we're working on Kaplan for speed bumps in areas around schools where people use cut-throughs, like over where Kaplan is. They use Kaplan to avoid making the left on Essex. Same thing in your area, Fairmount, Poplar, Ross as well.
Yeah, because my kid was the only kid when I moved in 2000 on the block.
Yeah.
But now we have so many little babies, and you know, it's sad because you really got to pull them in. And I'm just really afraid. Then the second thing is, I want to thank all of you for what you've done for the city. I know 2 of you will continue to run, 3 of you have other plans. But I honestly have to tell you, because you know, 12 years ago, I was on the other side and ran against. And you've done what people said couldn't be done. You've made streets 2 ways when they said it couldn't be done. When I moved here, it was phone card stores and things of that nature, and stores that sold tchotchkes, and now we have vibrant things out there for people to come from all over and eat and drink and hang out and come see Hackensack. So I want to thank you, because it's a thankless job what you guys do. It really is. And no matter what happens, I love when people come if there's a disagreement, it's fine, and we've had disagreements, it's not a problem. But it's how you handle the disagreement and get to a resolution that's important. And I want to thank you, because it's been tough, I know, but on behalf of the residents, I thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you, Joseph,
Take
appreciate
care.
it. Thank you so much. No, that was yesterday. That doesn't count. Anyone else from the public want to speak in this session before the next session starts? Okay, seeing none, motion to close.
Offer.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Just gonna take a quick, few-minute bio break if anybody up here needs to use the bathroom real quick before we move forward with new business.
per our usual practice, in closed session, we do talk about various ongoing litigation matters involving the city, and we disclose the names of those cases. During this meeting, we discussed the ongoing litigation involving workers' compensation litigation involving James Luther, ongoing litigation involving Darren DeWitt, and the ongoing JA Visual versus City of Hackensack litigation.
Okay. So with that, I need a motion to close the executive session.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I need a motion to close the council of the whole, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Madam Clerk?
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, notice of which was sent to the record in the Star Ledger and was posted on the municipal bulletin board.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Here.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Mayor LaBrus.
Here. Would everybody please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. And with that, we do have a proclamation for this evening. Okay. And I will go down and get it. Is there anybody here to accept this then?
Not that I know of.
Someone to read it from up here. All right.
That's fine.
So, the proclamation reads, whereas the month of April is globally acknowledged as Autism Acceptance Month, dedicated to increasing awareness, understanding, and acceptance of autism spectrum disorder, ASD. And whereas ASD is the fastest growing developmental disability in the United States, affecting more than 3 million people. New Jersey continues to rank among the states with the highest rates. And whereas autism spectrum disorders are characterized by a range of challenges and strengths impacting social communication, behavior, and sensory experiences. Whereas raising awareness about autism is essential in promoting early diagnosis, intervention, and access to appropriate resources and support. And whereas creating an inclusive, supportive environment for individuals with autism involves promoting understanding, empathy, and acceptance within schools, workplaces, homes, and communities. Now therefore, I, John P. LaBrosse Jr., Mayor of the City of Hackensack, along with members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Autism Awareness Month in the City of Hackensack, New Jersey, and urge all employees and residents to participate in Autism Awareness Month activities in order to become better educated on this disease and how it affects families, and to show our support as a community. So autism has risen dramatically through the years, as we know. When I was young, I don't even think it was diagnosed, because I don't think it even had a name at the time. But it certainly has become very prevalent in our society. And thank God there's organizations out there working to help these younger and older people who have autism. And I know quite a few of my friends who have children with challenges, and I watch how hard it is for them, but they stay the course and they make sure their children get the help they need. And some of them become quite successful, so it's great to see. So with that, we're going to move on to approval of the minutes for April 8th, 2025 Executive Calendar Regular Meeting. I need a motion.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Everybody was here for that, right, Deb?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll go to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Today is the last day to register to vote in the May municipal election. The clerk's office will remain open until 9 p.m. tonight for that registration. A groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of Johnson Park Sports Complex will be held tomorrow, April 23rd at 5:30 p.m. The city's 33rd annual Arbor Day celebration will be held Friday, April 25th at 9:30 a.m. at Nellie K. Parker School A tree will be planted to honor the memory of Lillian Whitaker, and thank you to the Shade Tree Committee for planning this celebration. On Wednesday, April 30th at 2 p.m., the city and the Board of Education will be honoring Lillian Whitaker with a street naming and vestibule grand opening at Nellie K. Parker School. Slam Dunk the Junk will be held April 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Organizations must be registered in advance. Information can be found on the city website. Don't forget to get tickets for the upcoming Pack the House concerts, which include performances by We Ani on April 26th and Paula Cole on May 17th. More information can be found on the HackPack website. Don't forget to register for summer camp. Space is becoming limited. Registration is open for the Hometown Heroes Veteran Banner Program. Information can be found on the city website and through Rec Desk. It is limited to the first 100 people. Please register by May 5th. Banners will be hung on Main Street from Memorial Day through Veterans Day. New Jersey is requiring lead-safe inspections for rental units. Landlords with pre-1978 rental properties located in Hackensack are required to have inspections completed by July 22nd. Landlords can use any company of their choosing as long as compliance is obtained. Please reach out to the building department if you have any questions. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. So with that, we're going to move on to new business. You ready, Deb?
Yep.
Resolution 196-25.
This is a resolution for final adoption of ordinance number 15-2025, an ordinance to amend Chapter 175 of the Code of the City of Hackensack zoning in order to amend and update certain definitions and provisions contained therein. This ordinance has been published according to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Need a motion to open to the public, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak to this ordinance and this ordinance only, please come forward. Seeing no members of the public, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Need a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey that ordinance number 15-2025 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Resolution 197-25.
This is a resolution for final adoption of ordinance number 17-2025, an ordinance to amend Chapter 170 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Vehicles and Traffic to update Section 49.2, parking for the handicapped. This ordinance has been published according to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Okay, I need a motion to open to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak to ordinance 197-25, please come forward. Seeing no members of the public, motion to close to public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. I need a motion to adopt this ordinance.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey that ordinance number 17-2025 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Resolution 198-25.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 18-2025, an ordinance to amend Chapter 170 of the Code of the City of Hackensack, Vehicles and Traffic, to add new handicap parking spaces in Section 49.2, parking for the handicapped.
Need a motion to introduce ordinance 18-2025.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
Be resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 18-2025 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and the said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 6, 2025 at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law, with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 199-25.
This is a resolution designating a redeveloper and authorizing redevelopment agreement with RHR Hackensack Urban Renewal LLC for the redevelopment of Block 405, Lot 3, otherwise known as 436 Main Street, within the former Sears site redevelopment plan area.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Abstain.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 200-25?
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 19-2025, an ordinance authorizing financial agreement with RHR Hackensack Urban Renewal LLC, an urban renewal entity authorized pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law, NJSA 48:20-1 et sec, for the development of a mixed-use apartment project upon Block 405, Lot 3.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Abstain.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 19-2025 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 6, 2025, at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter, as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law, with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay. Resolution 201-25?
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 20-2025, a bond ordinance providing for streetscape improvements along Anderson Street by and in the city of Hackensack in the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1,500,000, therefore inclusive of a New Jersey Department of Transportation grant in the amount of $1,305,000 and authorizing the issuance of $1,500,000 bonds or notes of the city to finance the cost thereof.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 20-2025 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 6, 2025, at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter, as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law, with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 202-25?
It's a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 21-2025, a bond ordinance providing for various 2025 capital improvements and acquisitions by and in the city of Hackensack in the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, appropriating $5,980,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $5,269,045 in bonds or notes of the city to finance part of the cost thereof.
Okay, need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Abstain.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 21-2025 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 6, 2025, at 8:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter, as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law, with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 203-25.
It's a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 22-2025, a bond ordinance providing for the acquisition and purchase of equipment for the Department of Public Works by and in the city of Hackensack in the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1,220,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,220,000 in bonds or notes to finance the cost thereof.
Need a motion?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed?
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 22-2025 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 6, 2025, at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 204-25.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 23-2025, an ordinance to amend Chapter 170 of the Code of the City of Hackensack, Vehicles and Traffic to add a loading zone on John Street.
Need a motion?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 23-2025 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 6, 2025, at 8:00 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
No, I had that,
Roll call?
no, you did that already.
Oh, on that one, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Resolution
Next one.
205-25.
Mayor, I was on a roll.
I know, it got you out of
Just
your
screwed it all up.
your groove, I'm sorry.
Now I can't breathe. No.
Deep breaths, deep breaths.
It's a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 24-2025, an ordinance to amend and update Chapter 32 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Police Department to make revisions to the department table of organization.
Okay, I need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Stay.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 24-2025 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and the said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 6, 2025, at 8:00 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 206-25.
It's a resolution authorizing tax refunds for state board judgments.
Need a motion.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 207-25.
It's a resolution authorizing award of contract to Suburban Consulting Engineers for LSRP Engineering Services for Johnson Park Sports Complex air monitoring.
Need a motion, excuse me, need a motion.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed. Resolution 208-25.
It's a resolution authorizing award of contract for engineering services to Neglia Engineering Associates for Bergen County ADA Ramp Compliance Program, Hudson Street Design.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 209-25.
A resolution authorizing award of contract for engineering services to Neglia Engineering Associates, Bergen County ADA Ramp Compliance Program, South River Street Construction Management.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Resolution 210-25.
It's a resolution authorizing award of contract for engineering services, NJDOT-funded pedestrian safety improvement, Grand Avenue project.
Need a motion.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed. Resolution 211-25.
It's a resolution authorizing award of contract for engineering services, Neglia Engineering Associates, 2025 road surfacing program, NJDOT-funded Kennedy Street project.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 212-25.
A resolution authorizing award of contract for engineering services, Neglia Engineering Associates, 2025 road resurfacing program, CDBG-funded streets.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. That was 212, correct, Dan?
Yes.
Resolution 213-25.
A resolution authorizing award of contract for engineering services, Naglia Engineering Associates, for the 2025 road resurfacing program, city funded.
Need a motion?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 214-25.
A resolution authorizing the awarding of a co-op contract for the purchase of 14 automated license plate reader cameras for the Hackensack Police Department.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Abstain.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 215-25.
It's a resolution authorizing a reduction to the 2024 tax levy.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed. Resolution 216-25.
This is a resolution authorizing the approval for a dedication by writer, Hackensack Hometown Heroes Banner Program.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 217-25.
A resolution authorizing tax appeal attorney to settle the cases that were scheduled for trial or settlement.
Need a motion?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Okay, we have a bill to pay that's on the bills.
We have to pull the one.
It's, I can't remember the name of it. It's for $3,260.
Brotherhood.
It's the Brotherhood
Of,
Wellness, I think.
yeah, I believe so.
Brotherhood of Wellness.
So it's minus $3,260.
I mean, you should probably make a motion to amend the bills list
Right,
to
I'll make a
remove that
motion
and
to-
then adopt the bills
Or you
list.
make the motion and I'll offer it.
I need a motion to adopt the
Amend.
bills list to, I'm sorry, to amend the bills list to, without the $3,260 to Brotherhood of Wellness.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now you need a.
So I have-
Need a motion to
To
adopt.
You want the number, Deb? 5861290.01.
5864,
So now we're subtracting, so then it becomes 5861,290.01.
okay. Okay, so now you need a motion to adopt the payment of bills minus the 3,260 for Brotherhood Wellness.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed. Onto the consent agenda. Anybody have any
anything-
conflicts here?
Need to be pulled?
Sorry?
So does anything need to be pulled?
Anything need to be pulled?
No.
Any conflicts? Nothing?
Okay.
Open space, nothing here. Okay.
The
move
following
forward.
items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any items requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. And consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes, including any exceptions and/or additions. Resolution 219-25 is a resolution authorizing veterans exemption deduction for Block 324, Lot 30. Resolution 220 is a resolution authorizing the submission of a Bergen County Open Space Recreation Floodplain Protection Farmland and Historic Preservation Trust Fund 2025 grant application for Stide Park Improvement Project. Resolution 221-25 is a resolution authorizing a person-to-person, place-to-place liquor license transfer from NJQ License LLC to Farley Enterprises LLC for license number 0223-33-041-005. And Resolution 222 is a resolution authorizing a board and commission appointment.
Okay, need a motion to adopt the consent agenda as it was just read by the city clerk.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay. That was a lot in a little bit of time, Deb.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so need a motion to open to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Anyone from the public who would like to speak, please come forward to the podium. Please state your name to the clerk, and you will have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening,
Rich
Mr.
Serbo, Spring Valley Avenue, Hackensack. You know, I just want to mention, maybe they're unwritten rules, but there's a couple of rules in politics. One is don't bite your nails in public. Okay, that's one. Don't bite your nails in public. Number two, don't wear a hat in public. Thank you very much. Okay,
took it off.
But, what's that?
I took my hat off.
Yeah, but you had it on the whole first half of the meeting. Okay, as for the first half of the meeting, that leads me right into that, is the work session was, is that what it's called?
Calendar.
The first half, okay. Okay, so we were discussing things and listening, kind of, and no one mentioned their name when they came to the podium, which gives me the idea that it's a private club. They must be all your friends, because no one said who they were coming to the podium. Not one person, okay? So, keep that in mind, that it was always mentioned that this was a private club, too. So it is a private club. All right, a couple more things,
Never ends.
just to get through. Okay. The Housing Authority, for Senior Housing Authority, I think there's 3 areas. There's one on First Street, there's one down on Kansas, correct? I mean, and one on Railroad Avenue, I think, or Beach Street it is, Beach and Railroad. Okay, who's in charge of that? Do they answer to the city and you, city council?
That's part of the Housing Authority, which is a state-run.
Federal.
It's a state-run?
It's run by HUD.
The senior's run by HUD, which is federal.
Yeah.
The Housing Authority is state.
Okay, so you have nothing to say about the 3 senior housing?
We have nothing to say about how they're run, no. I would put it that way.
Okay, so you have nothing to say about it?
Yeah, it's run by an outside group, not us.
But we can help them.
We can-
You're
we can
helping
work-
them
we
with
can
this
work
new
together.
senior housing.
Okay, so you can help them.
Can
Yes.
help them, but we can't.
All right, let's move on. Okay. Last thing is, what about, well, maybe the last thing, what about condemning properties? What is that all about? And are they condemned? When are they condemned? Who condemns them? What's going on with all that whole system of property being condemned and then developed or whatever, okay? Can we get a little something on that?
Use your time up, Rich, he'll answer it afterwards. The city
All
attorney
right.
will answer, all right?
All right, so that's important. I wanted to know what that is, and what else. There's so much to talk about, but I'll leave it there, okay? And let
I'll
Mr.
let you answer the condemnation issue, because there's a lot of reasons things get condemned, not just because a building's falling down, there could be other reasons. So-
All right, quick, I'll do my last 20 seconds, okay? I mentioned the sidewalks on Spring Valley Avenue in front of my house months ago, and no one even came to take a look at them, I don't think, okay? The trees have uprooted and popped up my sidewalks. They're broken, and it's very expensive to replace that, so
Mr.
46.
Servo, yeah, I contacted the DPW about that, and
Okay.
somebody did come and look at it.
Did they?
Yeah. However, we don't fix sidewalks.
Okay.
So I was told that it's up to the property owner to fix the sidewalk.
Even though you planted the trees there.
I totally agree with what you're saying, but yes.
So do I, because I had to replace mine, it cost me.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough. We'll listen to Mr. Kleinman. Thank you.
I mean, condemnation's a pretty broad topic, right? You know, you can condemn property for health or safety reasons. You can condemn property for a governmental purpose. So, you know, without more detail of what your specific question is, but, you know, understanding condemnation, the principle that underlies it is that, you know, if government is going to take your property for whatever reason, you know, there's a legal process that needs to be followed to do that. Just compensation may need to be paid in appropriate circumstances. And, you know, certainly a property owner who feels aggrieved about any time government seeks to condemn their property has a robust set of tools that they can use to challenge that. Condemnation's not a tool that government uses, at least certainly this government uses without very, very careful consideration. We've used it before when necessary. I don't think we've ever had a situation where a court has said that we've done so inappropriately. So, I mean, that's just a general overview. If you have anything specific, I can certainly answer that further.
Okay, next.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Brownita Sharif, 2nd Street, Hackensack. Two things I wanted to bring back up again. Mr. Caruso, my handicap space, has it been addressed?
It was
Oh,
on
what?
tonight. I got it approved.
Did I miss it?
I got it
Oh,
approved.
okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
We got it approved.
They're just that good.
I've been waiting for my paper. Also, I keep asking this the third time, I think, since I've been here, about the Head Start program at 291 2nd Street. I mean, last time you said it was addressed, I believe. I did speak to the director. She said she wasn't aware of anybody contacting her. 291 2nd Street. I'm asking that there be a walkway on 2nd Street by the park over to their school, or maybe a cone put in the middle, because a lot of people that come down 2nd Street
I
do
know
not
what
know
you're
that
talking
there's a
about.
school there.
Yeah.
Was
We
that
definitely have
addressed?
to look at that. And
It was, or
Traffic
was it?
Yeah, what was their response?
They couldn't do either of those things, so they were gonna meet with the school.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So the police
What
met,
happened?
the police met with, looked at it, said there wasn't much they could do, but the bottom line was they're gonna speak with the school to see if they can come up with a solution.
They said there wasn't much they could do. You couldn't put a line across to make a little
That's what
crosswalk.
they need the kids, right?
It was.
Gotta get a little
wasn't
piece of chalk and
pathway.
put it across, because
I don't think
they
it was
need a
something that
crosswalk.
we could do.
No, it was something that, Alice is reading it right
I'm
now.
reading it right now.
So this is right from the report.
Traffic did not recommend allowing a crossing in front of the school. It is dangerous mid-block. They would have to perform curb cutouts, install a handicap feature. It would not be MUTCD compliant. There is a compliant crosswalk at Clay and 2nd Street within a short distance.
So what they're saying is.
Gotta
it's a
go
mid-
to the
Would be a
corner.
mid-block crosswalk, all right? You have to put the ADA cutouts in, so it's not an easy fix.
Okay.
Because it's dangerous because.
And there's a crosswalk already reasonably close. So, you know, it's something, I'm very much against a lot of mid-block crosswalks, because I think people misuse them. And I see people don't stop at mid-block crosswalks, even when pedestrians are already in the crosswalk. I see it especially at Thompson, on Prospect by the hospital. Even, I don't care how many lights you put up, how many signs you put up, they'll just literally run you down.
So you still can't even put a cone in the middle of the street? You can't even put a
No,
cone
you
in
can't
that
put
area,
it-
letting
you
them know
can't-
it's a
there has
school
to
there?
be, in order to put like a crosswalk sign or a cone, you have to have a crosswalk. Because now if you put the cone there, you're actually encouraging people to cross there, which is what you don't want to do, especially children in the middle of a block, which is, 2nd Street has some pretty heavy
They
traffic.
think that they are protected and they are not.
Yeah, so, but I don't know what else to do with that. That's a
Well,
tough one.
the last thing is that the PD was gonna meet with the school and see
So
if
let's-
they could come
let's
up
see
with.
Not even a school sign?
That was the other thing. They were
We could
gonna
put school signs are great.
You
We
can
could
put a
school
sign maybe
there.
to
Like-
slow down to 15
Yeah.
miles an hour.
At least,
The
'cause a lot of
people
people don't
can
know
slow
it's
But
down.
they
there.
still shouldn't be crossing
Okay, I
without
understand
the
that.
crosswalk. They should go to the crosswalk on the corner. That's, you know.
Well, whatever they're gonna do, they better
It's
plan.
not, I know it's not human nature, we want to go A to B all the time, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, and then one last question. I know we talked about early voting last time.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of controversy. I know you guys gave me your answer, then the NAACP came up.
Right.
And bottom line is that it's not gonna cost anything to do it. So that was never addressed at the end of the meeting, because I know you guys said money, money, money.
well, that's,
But now
Go ahead.
they're saying it doesn't cost to do it,
so
and they're gonna
that's
do
not
some
true.
sort
They're
of.
saying it doesn't cost, they're saying it, they're kind of saying it's in an end-around way. Someone's getting paid that day to work,
Mm-hmm.
all right? They're working for the state's paying for it, the county's getting paid to do it. So people are getting paid. We pay county taxes. I don't care how minuscule 10 people working on voting day, but what they're doing is, and it's the same thing they've allowed all the time, is you can take your vote by mail. You can go down those days. They went and advertised it, the NAACP and the county advertised it and put it in the drop box.
But it's not costing the city anything, is it? Is
Well,
it
that's not
costing the city?
That's not costing the city anything.
Right.
If they had to open up machines, it's costing everybody in the state of New Jersey, basically, is paying to have our early election. You know, and I'm wondering why they didn't say the same thing now with Lyndhurst, right? Because they did not, Lyndhurst made the same decision. We made our decision based on Lyndhurst afterwards. The woman from the NAACP said because of the demographic difference, Lyndhurst really didn't matter, I guess, which they were interested in Hackensack. But I really question why Lyndhurst people can't go to counting and vote that day. Why they didn't put that in Hackensack and Lyndhurst, because it would have been adding 2 words, and those people would have been included, not excluded, because they're being excluded now. So,
Okay.
all right.
Mr. Carroll, good to see you for the 3rd time this week.
Cece, thank you. Cece, thank you for your comments about me, okay?
You're welcome. But I did want to say, Leo, that's what I felt in my heart. But it's not what you say, it's the way you say it. That's the thing. You can say whatever you want, but it's the way you say it and the way it's taken in the environment that you was in. But I understood the whole scenario, but because, like I said, I have a lot of Latinos in my family.
Thank you.
That word is nothing. But it's just the way and the spirit that you say it in. That's what, when people take it the wrong way.
Okay.
Thank you. Next person, please.
Hi, Doug Garofalo, Anderson Street, Hackensack. This is for the city manager. I was here a few months ago and I inquired about getting the 4-way stops at Anderson and Prospect looked at with flashing stop signs. You said you look into it. Just like an update on that and before you answer that.
Yeah, as far as I know, the signs have been ordered. It's just we're waiting for them to be installed. Yeah.
Excellent. 'Cause
Yeah,
I've
my
witnessed-
CFO is confirming that, so we're
Great.
just waiting for that.
Appreciate that, because there's been 2 accidents that I've
Yes.
heard in the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
And one also on Clinton Place, someone just flew down and didn't even realize someone was on Prospect. That required an ambulance and extrication, so that was, I don't know if you're going to consider it the other 4-way stops.
Which one is that?
It's not 4-way, it's just a 2-way. Clinton Place and Prospect.
Okay.
And the people come flying down
Yeah.
the hills. You guys all know you go through there. It's human, they're
Probably a
just
good
flying
place to
down.
break to slow
Right.
people down, because
Yeah,
Clinton
and-
has the stop signs, and Prospect goes straight through them. Also, did we get sorry, Doug, did we get the blinking lights for Clarendon as well?
Not yet.
Yeah, everything was ordered at the same
And we
time.
have to talk to that homeowner on the corner about something with those trees, because they're blocking the stop sign already,
Okay.
all right? The one we put in.
That's the new stop signs at Clarendon?
Yep.
and Prospect? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because, so speaking of that as well, now that slows down traffic from going west, which is great, because then, but they're still, even at night, they're still flying through, especially when they don't see any going west on Anderson Street to the
Right.
4-way stop. People are still flying through, they don't see any cars, they don't see any lights at night. They go flying through, they may slow down a little bit, but they definitely don't stop, and then they accelerate way up our street from Prospect all the way up to Summit.
I've seen the same thing.
Loud with all these enhanced mufflers, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
It is noise pollution beyond control. We hear traffic, cars racing on Route 17 in the middle of the night because of our proximity, the air, but this is ridiculous. They're going on Anderson Street because they want to avoid the stoplights on Passaic Street. So the gentleman before at the end of the cow talked about rumble strips. Don't know if that's feasible on Anderson between Prospect and Summit, but it would forcibly slow everyone down.
So what we spoke about before, Doug, was that Kaplan Avenue
Yeah.
project is a pilot.
Correct, I
That
heard you
we
say
want to
that.
see how it works, and if it
Right.
works, we're going to start using them throughout the city.
Yeah.
We've always been very concerned about speed bumps. They're not really rumble strips. Rumble strips are kind of like grooves
Make
in the
too much
ground.
noise.
Yeah.
These are actually like humps.
Table bumps.
Whatever-
Table bumps, they call them. So
Yeah.
that'll slow people down, especially with their hot rod little low-to-the-ground
Exactly.
cars.
Yeah.
So,
Because,
and also
yeah.
the lights, if we get those stop signs lit up at Clarendon and
Yeah.
Anderson, I think that's going to help that.
Yeah, because on the other side of the hill, they have them towards Maywood. Because like the other gentleman said about the kids in the neighborhood, we don't have too many kids on our street, but you never know when friends and family are over. And
You
just
never know.
kids, just human nature, they run out of the street to see their loved ones. So
Agreed.
thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you. Next person, please. Good evening,
Good
ma'am.
evening, everyone. I am here for follow-up. 2 weeks ago, I was here for the situation with parking on High Street.
Okay, I'm trying to think back.
High Street, yeah, it's right there.
Did
That
you-
one's still
Could you
being
just
worked
give your
on.
name to your name to the clerk, please, so she has your name?
Helen McFadden.
Thank you, Helen. So I'm trying to think back to High Street.
Yeah, that was, Mayor, that was put in, that was the only one that didn't come back yet. They're still working on it.
So it's still working?
Still doing a study on it.
Now that's.
High
for the-
and Third.
So that's for the resident
Resident
parking?
parking,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, resident park. The
Because
other
I know there was a
streets-
couple of them
yeah,
last
yeah.
time, the Wolf and other ones, so. That hasn't come back yet, so
No.
when we get the decision from the police department, what they do is they have to sit there and they actually have to
Watch everything.
watch the cars,
Okay.
track where they came from,
As I
who's
speak.
parking from where.
Yes, as I
So-
speak, there is a black SUV been parked there since Saturday.
Right,
That's a long time.
yeah, and you don't recognize the
No,
car, right?
I
It's
don't
not like
recognize
your
it, but it's
neighbor's
not,
car, so you
not
know
from
there's somebody
that
else's.
block.
Bring
Yeah.
the license plate to the city manager. Bring the number.
Yeah, next,
I can't do
tomorrow. Yeah, you can,
I can't do anything.
Why not?
I could just give it to the PD.
yeah, the PD,
Okay.
It's,
you can give it to the PD,
So give it to Artista.
if you want to call the city manager's office with some information,
Give
Wayne,
it to Artista.
he might be able to have that car at least maybe
All
identify
right.
the
So
person.
how would I find out when all this take place?
With the resident stickers?
Yes,
Yes.
The whole area will wind up being notified.
okay.
Yeah.
You'll get a letter.
You'll get a
All right.
letter, and they'll probably drop stuff off there to say, you gotta come down and get a sticker,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you very much.
You're
You're
welcome,
welcome.
dear.
Sorry it's taken so long.
Yeah.
Can she come up twice?
No,
She was at the county.
I was
it was on the county.
I know, plus
That's a
your
low blow,
chops.
Mayor LaBrus.
Make sure you leave your name.
I will, for the third time, Mr. Serbo, Marlene Somerville. So my question is on resolution, you were not here, Mr. Serbo, when I said it earlier in the day. Resolution 215-25, resolution authorizing the reduction of the 2024 tax levy. Could you guys explain that one? Is it personal tax levy?
We're gonna
Is
have
it the
Jim- we're gonna-
city tax
We're gonna
levy?
have Jim explain it. 'cause
Oh,
he's
okay,
the
thank
CFO.
you.
It comes in handy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just lousy wording in a resolution.
Right.
Okay. The 2025 budget includes a line called the Reserve for Uncollected Taxes. Okay, and it's a calculation that you do, and once you do the calculation, you have to appropriate at least that amount. Now in Hackensack, we have a very, very high collection rate, but we also have a lot of tax appeals. So what happens is when there's a tax appeal, the current taxes come off the collection rate. So for example, in 2024, our collection rate was 99.06. That's not a good collection rate for us. So this resolution allows us to take the tax levy that's used in the calculation and reduce it by the tax appeals. By doing that, our collection rate went from 99.06 to 99.9 because it's more accurate, okay? Our collection rate is 99.9. You can't collect taxes that are canceled because of an appeal, okay? It's a very technical thing, but it has to be done by resolution, has to be done before the budget is introduced.
Okay,
Okay?
Thanks, Jim.
thanks. Governmental process.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stuff in government is a little confusing,
A lot of rules.
a lot of rules. Anyone else from the public like to speak? Seeing no members of the public, I'd like to make a motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed? Ms. Von Rudenberg?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. We had opening day of baseball, softball this past weekend. The mayor threw some wild pitches.
Oh my God, it's our first time. That was the ump.
Had to be working. But it was a good time.
It was the umpire.
Yep. But it was a great turnout. The season's underway. We have some great coaches that are volunteering their time. I was just discussing with someone how, sometimes parents have some expectations of the different teams, but, we're all volunteers out there. We're giving our time. We're running practices. So, I always say to parents, if you're around, you want to help out, volunteer. It's a great way to get involved, and it's just nice to see the kids grow and have fun, and that's what it's all about. I always say if they learn more, they have fun, they love the sport, that's a win no matter what. In regards to the speeding at Clinton, I live on Clinton Place. I think it's definitely more of that crest on Prospect when they're coming from Passaic going towards Ross. What happens is you could be at that stop sign at Clinton, and 1 second you look right, there's no car, and a car is speeding, and then that's where those
They're coming
accidents are
down the hill.
happening. Because there's a stop sign at Clinton, so those cars are stopped, and and I've done it before, many people have done it. You don't see the car, and if that car is going over 40 miles per hour, the next second, they're there. So I think maybe the blinking light at that crest would help, let them know they have to slow down, because that's really the issue there. And that's it for me. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Steph. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed the lovely weather that we had over the past weekend. It was a nice change from some of the highs and lows that we've been seeing for April weather. So, and Easter and any other holidays that folks enjoyed, hope everyone did. We had the Easter egg hunt. I didn't make it this year, and I'm sure it was a success, and things that the city provides. And nice to hear about the baseball went off well. I always like to talk about a couple of things that are on the agenda, if there should be any, that I'm personally involved with. There was some changes to the zoning code. I think I talked about some of these things once before. Two simple changes. One, commercial kitchens have become something popular in the area, and we did not have definitions for it that would just easily allow such a thing. So, those are commercial kitchens are ones where there might be like a warehouse-like atmosphere. There's no ability for you to go in and sit at the restaurant, but you will have multiple kitchens in there, or can have multiple kitchens in there. So within there, you could be, it's a great way to sponsor startup kitchens or startup restaurants. So you could have a burger place, you could have an Asian place, you could have a pizza place, and you could make one phone call, and you could order from all three of those places and pick them up or have them delivered to you. So it's something that's become popular in the area, and we just defined it so it's acceptable to have in the city of Hackensack as well. The other was making a change to lot size in one particular area. We defined an overlay zone. If you're looking at the city and you're looking at kind of the southeast portion of the city, so I'm looking in that Hudson Street area and going west a little, there's a number of residential areas, a number of private homes that do not meet the city's standard for a 50 by 100 or 5,000 square foot residency space. And they're existing homes, and folks there that want to make change to their homes and improve their homes, it's a difficult process because now they have to come through boards, et cetera, because they don't meet the standard requirement. So we defined an overlay zone where these particular properties exist currently. So if you have an existing home in that particular area, even though it's not the 5,000 square feet, it's perhaps a 40 by 100, you can easily make changes, you can improve your property as long as it meets and doesn't require any other variances like side or front yard variances. So it's just gonna make it a lot easier. There's folks there that wanna make those changes and don't need to incur the cost of going through the board process to improve their home. So those things were on the zoning changes. As far as redevelopment is concerned, there was two on here that had to do with the existing Sears property. One was just defining the redevelopment agreement, and the other was setting up the financial agreement. As far as the redevelopment agreement goes, we're looking at maintaining the Sears Tower, because that was an iconic piece. That was one of the pieces that the council had asked that remain. Same way the old People's Trust, Summit Bank, whatever you call it, on 210 Main, we asked that those two buildings were of a reasonable height, and they kind of brought a lot of character into the town. So the same arrangement was made with Sears, so the Sears Tower will remain, and they will add residential in that huge parking lot that's adjacent to it. Primarily, the residential will be pretty much built along the River Street side, and I think it will be, a lovely reuse of that property that's kind of been sitting vacant for a number of years. The financial, Leo, please, the financial agreement, the current taxes on that financial agreement, they're paying about, $320,000 currently in taxes. Once it's, at its rental of approximately 85-90%, which all of our existing properties within 6 months to a year are at least at 90% leased currently. They'll be paying $1.388 million. So you're going to look at $1 million increase in revenue by us redeveloping the city, working together with the developer to redevelop that property. So that was on here as well. There were a number of bonds, but I'm not going to go through them. If you missed the committee of the whole, the COW meeting, our CFO went through each one individually and explained them. So if you'd like, all this is available on YouTube. You can easily watch the committee of the whole video and go and take a look at what his presentation was. Thanks everyone for coming. Enjoy the nice weather. It looks like hopefully it's here to stay, and we hope we see you next time.
Leo? Yes. Finally, for the last 20 years, I've been fighting to try to get the sport done for the kids. Look like tomorrow we're going to do the groundbreaking, 5:30. I expect to see everybody there, no excuses. And then we got the paving map. What is it? Okay, as you can see there, that's the street they're gonna get paid in 225, right? And we're gonna continue. Plus, show me the other. That one is, you got year by year the street that been paved in the city. Every color represents the year that we did the job, okay? You got from almost 2020 to 25, but you can see there a street that they were done 14, 15, 16, 17. So all the streets, they already there, and we're gonna continue with the paving program this year. And related to Second Street, I just wanna say something related to that problem. Whatever we're gonna do, we have to decide now, because in few months, Second Street gonna have a lot of improvement in infrastructure, all the sidewalks and the whole thing. So if we're gonna do something, do it before.
You talk about the
we do the
crosswalk?
pavement. Yeah, the Second Street. We should be done before that. And the last thing is Fairmont Avenue. We would do the stories and the whole 9 yards, and I don't see the table bumps, and the people continue flying from Summer Avenue all the way to Grand Avenue.
This is week, like I said, we're doing the
Huh? Pilot.
pilot on Kaplan, and then hopefully we'll be able to get them from there and do them over there.
But that one,
We're gonna
that
put them
one,
throughout the city, wherever
we
the
do
street
the
is from.
story first. The only problem that we got, this particular officer, that he don't wanna go the okay and do, and submit to the people from England to get expect to do the table bond. They are waiting for somebody to get killed. This is every day.
They do speed on Fairmount.
Oh, my God.
It's wide, you know why it's a wider street?
Not only that, but what happened in the morning when the people, they come to drop the kids, they are a few minutes later, they come flying from somewhere.
Usually that's the case, when everybody's
And
some late or
sometimes they
something
got
else, they
and they got
fly.
the sun in their faces. If somebody is crossing the street, forget about it.
You can't see.
Okay, thank you for coming.
I agree that speeding in Hackensack is just out of control at this point, and hopefully with the speed bumps and signs and stuff, hopefully that will slow things down. This past Saturday was, opening day was a real good day. Almost had to go get a relief pitcher for the mayor because he was missing the strike zone pretty bad at the beginning.
you're not
But,
kidding.
he ended up focusing and getting it over the plate, so that's a great job.
About 5 feet over the plate.
Yeah, yes,
It was over,
yes.
over the plate, it was over Steffi, it was over you.
But he got the job done. We got the job done.
Finally, he got his strike, right?
Yes, finally. All right. I was asked to read this statement. The Bergen County NAACP, the Fellowship of Black Churches of Hackensack and vicinity, and the county clerk's office have stepped up to fill a critical gap in our democratic process. I don't know where that noise came from. In response to the lack of early voting options provided by Hackensack municipal leadership, the Bergen County NAACP and the Fellowship of Black Churches of Hackensack and vicinity in partnership with the county clerk, John Hogan, are hosting an in-person early voting event to ensure everyone can exercise their right to vote. This community-led initiative ensures all voices can be heard regardless of work schedules or other election day constraints. Democracy works best when everyone participates. I'd like to thank everyone who has attended this meeting physically and remotely. Take care, get home safe, and God bless.
Thank you. So I'm up. So we had, let me do it with my piece of paper. We got busy stuff coming up tomorrow. We got the groundbreaking for the Johnson Park. What else we have? Let me put it. On the 30th, we have the groundbreaking, not the groundbreaking, the grand opening of the new, I guess, what do you call it?
It's a safety vestibule.
It's a safety vestibule for the kids at Nellie K. Parker. That will also be accompanied that day by the renaming of the commemorative street for Lillian Whitaker. We ask everybody watching out there on YouTube or catching us later on to please come. We're looking for a big crowd for that. We're doing it at a time when the kids can be present. I'm hoping there's a lot of her children there, and they were her children, believe me. Looking forward to that day. It's a well-earned honor, and the city is more than happy to participate and make that happen. Groundbreaking Arbor Day Friday is also at Nellie K. Parker. Will there be a tree dedicated in Lillian's name, I believe? Vet banners are available now. It's early in the process. We only have about 8 so far. We need to get a lot more to make this project work. If you know a veteran and you want, he wants to be honored, he just needs a picture of him in his service uniform. He or she, sorry. I'm old school, sorry, my bad. And what other information did he need?
And his paperwork.
And his military paperwork when he served. You see this in a lot of other towns. It's a great honor to see and it's a great way to honor our veterans. These flags will fly from Memorial Day to Veterans Day, I believe. Is that what we're doing? So it's up for quite a long time. They will be on Main Street. We had issues. We were going to put them on Summit Avenue, but we had some issues because most of the poles were PSE&G wouldn't allow it. So we moved it to Main Street where we have our own poles, basically. What else do we have? So I want to talk about the early voting issue. So I can appreciate the county saying that they're doing something special, but I don't know that they are because I believe that was allowed anyway. Didn't we? They're VBMs. It's still VBM. It's not, there's not going to be people there working machines, to my knowledge.
I haven't been advised as to what exactly is happening, so I couldn't begin to tell you.
As far as I know, Counselor, it's, you take your VBM, you drop it in a drop box.
Yeah,
All right?
absolutely.
That drop box is out there
24/7. It's
24/7,
monitored. I
and
believe
it's monitored by a security guard. So, I mean, that type of early voting has been available since they started
Absolutely.
since they started VBM. So I understand the push, and like I said before, I really have to question why clerk's office did not include Lyndhurst in that at least mentioning to Lyndhurst people, you can come down and vote by mail and drop it in the drop box down by us. I don't know why that was excluded, because to me, those people were shut out. I don't care if they said there weren't a lot of black people in Lyndhurst, was her own words. I don't care if there's one.
There are quite a number of minorities in Lyndhurst. It's a quite
Yes, there's
diverse
people of color in
community, in
Lyndhurst,
fact.
plenty, and I just found it strange that the focus was only here in Hackensack, so.
I just think it has to be very clear so people aren't confused that you're describing early voting. All you're doing is dropping off your vote by mail application, which you can do. There's not going to be machines that you could vote by, as typically is what's called.
The way they advertised it was VBM, so.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll point out that
And
this.
we stood there that night.
And I
encouraged
point out that
everybody to
this
do the same
this council
thing.
made that point, which said that is the
exactly what we
option
encouraged.
available to you that the law provides for at no added expense to any taxpayer. So I believe that was a point made by
And I'm sure
everyone at this dais.
I'll get a call from Hogan and Debbie Francisca and Courtney or whatever, Miss Johnson, but yeah, it is what it is. That was the way you could vote before. And with that, I wish everybody a safe trip home. I hope everybody had a wonderful Easter or Passover. Motion to close the meeting.
Offer.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.